Where will you go, Blood Dagger? I'm not sure. I will need to consult with my clan members for a bit. It seems that you've already decided. To be honest, I am still deciding. Blood Dagger. It would be best if our decisions coincide, but if not, then there's no helping it. Frankly, Gorf clinging on to me to stay together would have been an enjoyable sight to see, but the situation didn't transpire as such. The probability of Gorf going to the Minotaurus of the Great Prairies, or the Ogres of the Jungle is high. The large frames of the two clans suit well with Gorf's clan extremely well. Personally, I would recommend the Minotaurs that are known to be milder than the fierce Ogres. I thought that Gorf would become much more stronger by reducing his warlike personality a bit. From his personality, the chances of him selecting the Ogre side was high, but intervening in this situation would be inappropriate of me. Seeing that the conversation between us looked enjoyable, he furtively approached and opened his mouth. Our Dark Moon clan will head east. East would be. We will depart together with the Storm Shadows. The swamps in the east. Though I'm not precisely sure of the classes, but somehow, hints of rogues rise from it. The Dark Moon's shadiness matches very well with them, I thought, so it was to be expected. Dark Moon looked up at me and with a smile on a very uncomfortable expression, he spoke once again. So, the Storm Shadows would like you to move together with them. I'm talking of you, Blood Dagger. It seems that Dark Moon was shady as well. To be offered this proposition, it was obvious that I wouldn't select this instant. So, I decided to reply to Dark Moon with a suitable line. Tell them I'll think about it. TCH. Alright. I began to feel a bit envious of Dark Moon being certain of the path he chose. As for me, I know too much information, so it was rather greatly intervening with choosing a specific place. The first thing to consider was that since I had returned to the past, I know a few named monsters. Of course, there's an extremely fast troll to the east, and there was also a story of a werewolf who killed two first-class summons simultaneously in an instant to the north. Even though it's a rumor by story, as someone that is very curious, I know these kinds of information in the back of my head. Of course, the monsters I heard were in clans or chiefs the majority of the time, but there were also some that didn't apply to that. From my memories, at a small city to the east were greenskins enslaved by the humans. At around 5 years before my death, I heard that the human city was in complete chaos. Of course the event was induced by the slaves. Of course I don't know the name, but apparently it was a troll shaman who led a rebellion in creating large havoc in the city. Soon after, they were killed by the humans from the east, but the force that they displayed became a significant shock that became well known for quite a long time. There was a different one 8 years ago. There was a orc hunter who did not live in a particular tribal life, but this orc always had on a draped white wolf leather as the orc killed all the humans in sight. He would breathe his last after being pierced by the spear from the Queen of the North. Hopefully, if things go well, I had high hopes of recruiting him into our clan. Due to this, I had no choice but to ponder a bit longer. Anyhow, thanks to this roughly known information, I was able to completely exclude the choices of living with the Minotaurus clan, as well as the Ogres. Just because there was no formalized growth tree of these high-ranking species doesn't mean that they were necessarily strong, but naturally, the Ogres and Minotaurus were definitely recognized to be one of the stronger monsters in this world. Thanks to them, the humans won't usually invade into the territorial areas they usually live in unless they are strong enough. In order for me to engage in many battles, the thicker the shield, the more harmful it would rather be. Also, their lifestyles didn't match with mine from the start. I'm not sure of the Ogres, but the arrogant Minotaurus were definitely not suitable to my tastes. I had no thoughts of becoming a cow. To be honest, the most alluring option was to go west to the Green Goblin clan to find Kwashiulji, and kill the Saint Sword including Shindakho, the custard. The problem was that the power of our clan was too weak to settle in the west and do full-scale activities. In the tutorial, we did have some military force, but in the standards of the continent, we were nothing but hatchlings. It's obvious, but even if we combined forces with the Green Goblin clan, we wouldn't even be able to infiltrate into the city of the humans. The Sand Knights who were training the Saint Sword recognized her talent after being summoned at a young age, who would later become the leader and would easily kill us. Probably the Saint Sword's master that was currently ruling over the city, Saint Knight Kwa Young Hoon. Until retirement, he was still too strong. So, I'm curious. I am definitely curious how Kwashiulji is living right now. As someone who met Kwashiulji 3 years into the continent, I did not know what she did beforehand. From her words, she was a decent thief, but there was no validity from her actions. In my estimation, I thought that she sold her body from a long time ago, but due to her insistence, I wasn't able to confirm that. In fact, the two of us did not think of having a serious relationship as we joked around while raising our affection for one another. Of course, I visited Kwashiulji often at first, and I was slowly sorting out my life a little bit, so I had thought that we could be together by combining our efforts, but who would have guessed that things would transpire like that? This was definitely possible since Kwashiulji was a prostitute who sold her body on the streets, and I was a beggar who was trying my utmost to survive day by day. It was somewhat embarrassing to have confirmed each other's feelings to some extent at the end, but I was also curious how the present Kwashiulji was doing. If I was lucky, it would be best if I could bring her over to my side, but I'm nothing but a monster from a standpoint, so it would be a relief for her to not run away after seeing me. Forcefully grabbing Kwashiulji and saying you and I decided to live together in our previous life was something I had no confidence of saying to a fear-stricken Kwashiulji. I had no choice but to think about it some more. In fact, the most important task at hand other than my personal revenge or infusing new talent into the clan was for me to grow. In order to accomplish my goal, it was necessary, and above all, I had a great desire to be strong. Unlike the previous me who had no hope, seeing my path open a bit, I was starting to enjoy watching myself grow. There were various ways to become strong in this continent, but there are two classifications in general. The first is to directly experience battle and gain experience. The second is to learn. Of course, hunting the undead living here and there in the dungeons and entering the dungeons made by those crazy midges to earn points or find hidden quests would be a way, but I realized that honing my skills and increasing my physical abilities was more important. In the battle against the Queen of the North, I was definitely superior in terms of physical abilities. I needed opponents, seniors, that I could fight and learn various things from. If you think about it again, the North was excluded, and the battle styles of the werewolves were completely different from mine. You could say that the Desert Orc clan that is settled in the southern desert uses a variety of weapons was very suitable, but if you consider the clan, then the Storm Shadows of the east as well as the Green Goblins of the west were not bad choices at all. The reason was that these two clans operated on robbery, assassinations, and theft, uncommon among the Greenskins. This would aid my subordinates a lot, where many have selected the assassin path. It also wouldn't be bad for me personally since I would learn the way of the dagger. To be honest, my head hurts. In the end, I decided to consult with Meath and Younghian. The 5 goblin siblings also decided to participate in their first ever meeting, so with all of us gathered in my tent, we pondered hard on where we should head to. But I will follow whatever the blood dagger wishes. The first sibling. This kind of significant issue needs to be decided by the captain. Fairy Sprite Archer Meath, 2. I don't know. Even Younghian, once a human, revealed her intention to leave everything to me. Just in case, I asked the other clan members on their opinion, but their reaction was much more of a sight. For Blood Dagger. I will follow Blood Dagger. For Blood Dagger. For Blood Dagger. By asking for opinions without hesitation, it only solidified my position as the leader that much more. Other than the Dark Moon clan, Gorf clan, and our Blood Dagger clan, all the other chiefs disbanded their clans and decided to join the others, so it was rather a relief that this kind of response transpired, but this blind following of one person was definitely dangerous. It was because I was not perfect. Thanks to that, I began to be more attracted to the east, where the slave shaman is an York hunter of the north. It is funny to mention this, but I really needed another honest clan member who would disagree with me. Not only that, we don't even have a shaman in the clan. That honey-like proposition of going together with the Storm Shadows slowly creeped into my mind as my heart leaned to the swamps of the east. As such, with my eyes open, I stayed up the whole night thinking, I won't be able to deal with you. Younghian started the day with a very serious look, but this situation was much more urgent. Once it was morning, everyone like yesterday began to convene, and after finishing the introductions of bowing with our hands on our chest, we were able to face Agar. Tell your brothers of your decision. The first one to open his mouth was Gorf clan's Gorf. Our Gorf clan, we will go together with the ogres of the jungle. It seems he chose to release more of his wild nature than suppress it. Personally, it was unfortunate, but it wasn't a bad selection. Probably, it wasn't just Gorf, but the selection of all of his clan members. Naturally, I became curious of Gorf's appearance 3 years from now. The Goblin Elder's turn was next. Our Dark Moon clan, we will go together with the Trolls of the Swamps. The Goblin Elder was going together with the Storm Shadows he spoke of yesterday. Storm Shadow and Dark Moon greeted each other with their hands on their chests, and soon Chief Patriarch Agar gazed at me as he opened his mouth. How about you, Blood Dagger clan? Looking on at the clan members on the right side of the Great Patriarch, I slowly opened my mouth. Everyone started to pay attention, and soon, had surprised expressions. Our Blood Dagger clan will. Everyone was staring at my mouth opening. In that gap, I slowly began to utter words from my mouth. Our Blood Dagger clan will. Our Blood Dagger clan will go together with the Green Goblin clan of the west. Everyone had an amused face. Amongst them was Storm Shadow, who had asked me to come along, opening his mouth as his long fangs stuck out. It was truly an expression of curiosity rather than being displeased. Interesting. Warrior who has lost one's honor. Blood Dagger. May I ask why? There was a reason I had thought of in advance, but there was no way I could speak of it plainly. After briefly staring at Storm Shadow, I was able to come up with a reasonable explanation for him to accept and began to speak. The woman of the humans knows me who have lost one's honor very well. Also, I was able to learn the harshness and cruelty of the environment here thanks to the exam of Chief Patriarch Agar. The weak goblins with their bodies were able to establish their own flag on the continent. I am curious of how they were able to do so. As if convinced, he soon nodded his head, and opened his mouth after a few seconds. I think I know what you want. Warrior who has lost one's honor, Blood Dagger. My words were plausible, but the fact that I had chosen the Green Goblin clan wasn't just for that reason. Of course, it would be true if what I spoke earlier were true, but there were more plausible reasons. The east was the best, and the north was not bad at all. Despite all that, there were reasons why I had chosen to go with the Green Goblins. The first reason was because I know the western city very well. I have heard about the situations of the north and east, but if I were to actually head over, the probability of me starting from scratch was extremely high. No matter how much I covet the slave shaman and York hunter, it's only possible once they actually recognize me as their chief. No one would swear allegiance to a young hatchling like me. Especially in the case of the slave shaman, I didn't have the power to investigate that small city. It would be best to grow a bit stronger beforehand. The second reason was the probability of possibly meeting Quasulaji. If Quasulaji's words were true that she had adventured for only 2 years after completing the tutorial, there could be the chance of me actually meeting Quasulaji. Everyone already knows that the West is where beginners train and hunt. If I really am able to meet Quasulaji, I'm not sure how I would respond, but I want to see how she's faring. And the last reason was to wipe out the fast-growing rookies in the Western city who had developed quickly for 10 years before. I'll clash against them anyways. One way or the other, I will fight the Saint Sword. I will clash against the Western city area managed by the St. Knight's Order anyhow. I already have a trivial desire for vengeance as a green-skinned human. I will soon aim for the St. Sword surrounded by countless, strong opponents. I will also target the Western city area. I need to reduce the find summoned as much as possible. A special unique ability that allows one to use magic and sword simultaneously. Magic swordsman Kim Dong-Nyan. The wind magician who can relentlessly send her opponents flying with her High Man, Legion, and the high HP Saint Knight, the famed Bukun Jin. And the other so-called rankers included with those names. I must kill them all. There was no personal grudge against them. You can consider them elite since they did pass the elite courses. It's not as much as the Queen of the North, but they were the strong I've looked up to 10 years ago. I wanted to see how I am now against them. While I was thinking of useless thoughts, I could hear Chief Patriarch Agar's voice once again. Interesting. How interesting. It was always like this, but these brothers are very interesting. Follow me, my brothers. I have a present for you. Strength, wisdom and honor. I did expect internally whether the Patriarch would give out something. It was strange how I wasn't excited at the thought of receiving something. Soon, a group began to move from the spot again behind the Chief Patriarch. As if seeing this as an opportunity, the Green Goblin clan's chief furtively withdrew his body backwards and slowly opened his mouth. He was wearing a white robe, but what was more of a lasting impression were his teeth. Is there another reason why you selected our clan? Girl. The reason is the same as before. Green Goblin. I thought there was something to learn from. Girike. Good. To teach. To learn. That is precisely a wise green skin. From the mood, it seems that they have never received the selection of the brothers. It seems there were none that chose to leave with them considering the other ogres or werewolves, and Yorks. He smiled as he looked at me with his small fang. You can look forward to it, friend. I look forward to it, brother. After concluding the short conversation, I couldn't help while standing in front of the cave-like place but smile with the sounds from within. Kiryu. It was the small growl of a beast. The humans definitely tried to tame the different monster races for transportation, but I've heard that they had failed completely. There were rumors that only the monsters had the method to train these beasts, but even after 10 years, seeing that no progress was made, it seems probable that they won't be able to figure it out forever. Soon, Chief Patriarch Agar lighted the interior of the cave, revealing the large wolves gathered inside. Kiryu. The wolves stared at us with reddened eyes. I laughed joyfully towards them. Then, a dark-colored wolf began to slowly walk over towards me, catching my attention. The Chief Patriarch, seeing this, opened his mouth once again. You can take it. Kiam. To be honest, I wanted to scream. But, I decided to ask once again to preserve my image. Really? Of course, you are chosen by this child, brother. The child was slightly looking up with its eyes shining, as it lowered its head towards me. As if it wanted me to stroke it, it rubbed its face. Stroking its fine hair with my rugged hands, the sounds of a cat soon emerged from its mouth. Purrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr this little guy. I could finally see why the humans could not tame these wolves, and why the wolf riders who fought with wolves were so rare. May I ask for this child's name? You name it. This wolf was just reborn. I nodded my head. It seems that since I had received this gift, I had to name it as well. There was no name that came into mind just yet. I continued to stroke it. Gorf was second. Gorf was waiting briefly in front of the cave. A large wolf slowly walked outside the cave. Gorf smiled, and as if it was pleased, the wolf made a low growl. From Gorf's expression, I could see that he was truly thankful to the chief patriarch. I felt his elation from here. Lastly, the Dark Moon clan waited, but no matter what he tried, no wolves came out, causing all of us to laugh. In the end, Agar comforted Dark Moon, patting his back. Don't be too disappointed. It is quite difficult to match their tastes. I will give you a different present. It's an honor. How could he be happy even if he were to receive another gift? Though I haven't raised a dog prior, but seeing it shake its tail, I think I can understand why others raised dogs. In the perspective of a human, it was definitely fierce and terrifying. I extended my hand once again towards it, and as such, the welcoming event concluded. After the event, which could not be called an event, was completed, as I walked towards the tent of my clan members, soon they started to loudly scream hard for Blood Dagger. Though they chanted that for me, their eyes were all focused on the large wolf that came to our camp. Kiryu. The growling wolf stared at the approaching goblins and hobgoblins as if it was annoyed, but despite that, the clan members were extremely elated as they jumped around the dark-colored wolf. Captain has received the wolf. Our captain is now a wolf rider. It's a female. It's a female. I couldn't confirm its gender, but it seems it was a female. Seeing their exaggerated expressions, I couldn't help but laugh as I opened my mouth. Prepare to depart. Blood Dagger Clan will head west. We're going west. The Blood Dagger Clan will go west. I immediately announced that we would head west, and the Green Goblin, worried just in case I might change my mind, immediately accepted my offer. That's why our tents along with the Green Goblin tents were busy. Meav and Young-Hyun, without me telling them, roughly knew where we were heading, seeing the boisterous Green Goblins. I do not know why, but they were very joyfully nodding their heads as Meav's expression looked as if my decision was rational. No, rather it was an expression of, "That's our chief." It was that kind of expression, I think. Get the food. Prepare the water. We will go together with the Green Goblin Clan. Blood Dagger Clan and Green Goblin Clan will go together. The other guys were extremely excited as they were wondering about the new land. When I was finished organizing the preparations along with the 5 goblin siblings, it was then I heard, "Blood Dagger." I turned my head toward the sound of the voice, and standing in front of me was Gorf. With over 100 days of being together with him, the affection that we shared was very high. It seems that he came in search of me to say goodbye, so I placed my baggage on the floor and began to walk slowly towards Gorf. Gorf. Calling his name, he nodded his head and opened his mouth once again. We have been together for a long time. We fought together, slept together, and acted together. It might not have been a long time. I think of you as an honest brother. I am of the same. Gorf. We might not share blood, but I see you as my brother. Afterwards, he tried to say something, but funny enough, the words didn't come out well. I felt like I knew what he wanted to say, so I stared at Gorf and opened my mouth. Let's grow stronger and see each other after 3 years. My brother. Let us set our flags in this continent. Hearing my words, Gorf nodded his head. Seeing that, it seems that I was right at what he wanted to say. What a complicated guy. All right. Let's see each other 3 years from now, brother. From Gorf's words, I extended my hand without realizing it. It seems I still had that habit from when I was a human. Apparently, the greetings of the green skims would have been pounding the chests with one's hand. However, after he briefly leaned his head to one side for a moment, he cautiously extended his hand. Soon, I could feel Gorf's heavy strength from his hand. What I felt was Gorf's heat. I began to tighten my grip on the hand slowly, displaying what this action means, and at this time I thought that the way of the humans was not bad, either in contrast to the way of the greenskins. No more words were needed after that exchange. Gorf slowly turned his back and began to return. He will definitely return 3 years later stronger. I will as well. I also need to be strong in order to fight him. I laughed. If someone told me 10 years ago that I would be sharing friendship with an orc, I would have treated that guy as a freak. But now, I am feeling it. I really see him as my brother. Not only that. Ha! I turned my back from Gorf and opened my mouth to my other brothers. Let's go. My brothers. 4. For Blood Dagger. As such, our short time in the Land of Glory ended. A human assassin fights in the shadows. As for us Green Goblins. Well. Green Goblin Clan's chief. It seems that he was very close to you. Drake. A brother. Drake. The one who spoke to me was Green Goblin. Right now we were leaving the Land of Glory with some of the tribesmen of the Green Goblin Clan. I did not say my farewells to the Chief Patriarch, but when I saw that the Green Goblins did not mind, it seemed that there was no need to say goodbye when leaving. He was one that came here with me. If so, that must have been very special. Drake. I was of the same as well. I was slowly moving on top of a giant wolf, who I named Ibar. At first, I thought it was appropriate to walk with the clan members, but after Meave approached me and spoke how I needed to show dignity of the Chief Patriarch, I consented and rode on top of her. Riding her wasn't as difficult as I thought. When she starts running, I thought I would fall off her unsightly, but she was caring for me more than anything else. And the soft, fluffy fur was extremely comfortable, as if I was sitting on a superior sofa. I could somewhat understand why some people would go crazy over expensive cars. The interesting part was that among the 10 also Green Goblin Clan members, the chief was walking with them. It seems that he didn't get selected. With an envious look, he kept taking glances towards me on top of Ibar, so much so that I could feel his eyes continually staring. Would you like to ride her behind me? Ah. No. Drake. It's okay. Drake. He was definitely stuttering. It seems he was shaken. Strangely, as if she understood my words, Ibar let out a Korean, expressing her refusal. The Green Goblin who saw this was greatly depressed. I do not know why, but the other clan members also had sad faces. In the end, I had to bend down and ask, "It's okay, right?" Before she began to stoop down. There was no reason why he wouldn't understand for him to come on. In the end, Green Goblin. It's okay. Okay. It's fine. Drake. Green Goblin mumbled as he slowly climbed on top of Ibar's back. Once he climbed up, he was extremely elated. These green skims are simple as expected. Seeing this, the rest of the Green Goblin clan members began screaming. Our chief has been selected by the giant wolf. The first goblin in the Green Goblin clan to overcome this limit is our chief. Our chief is great. Even the other Green Goblins have not been on top of the wolf once. It was to the point where I wondered if giant wolves dislike those that are simple. In an instant, all of them were excited. Our clan members were getting excited in a different way. It's a great unity amongst chiefs. The Green Goblin clan and the Blood Dagger clan. It's a great unity amongst chiefs. I was extremely curious as to how this situation of riding on the wolf could be interpreted like that, but it was really interesting. The Green Goblin, who saw this, was slightly excited and climbed on the wolf with 2 feet. I am that Green Goblin. TCH. Seeing him like that, I began to worry whether I could entrust my future to someone like him. At this time, we had left the Land of Glory, but in the direction of the way back seemed to be a bit different. It seems that the path back is different from when we searched for the Land of Glory. That land is holy and only the greenskins of the warrior exam could enter. Grike. Our clan had also traversed to the Land of Glory with the aid of a guide. It's already been 8 years. I see. This way back is much more quick and comfortable. Now and then, we will also encounter humans. You don't have to restrain your desire for battle unlike last time. Grike. In the warrior exam, the monsters that appeared every time we changed direction led us on the right path. As Green Goblin mentioned, we were able to find a much more comfortable way back than we did searching for the Land of Glory. A path surrounded by huge trees. To be precise, it was not well organized to say the least, but certainly these huge trees covered the hot desert, so it was much easier to travel. It seems that the probability of a road connecting the middle of this forest and the desert is high. Thanks to it, the humans use this road quite often it seems. A disputed area where greenskins and humans will likely fight for. This place was likely one that you would not want to lose. It is the only comfortable way to reach the continent, so it's not unreasonable in wanting to control this path. Since I wasn't good with memorizing roads, I looked at Meave, who understood my point. She was memorizing the way as an archer. Come to think of it, what do you want to learn from our clan? Everything. Especially on how to wield the dagger. Of course, it's not just me, but all of our clan members. I had to try as many weapons as possible, so I decided to learn the dagger first. There was no particular reason, but since I was heading to the west, and I was familiar with the proficiency of the dagger used by the Green Goblins from my human days, I thought why not? For example, thieves and assassins who weren't skilled. TCH. It would be nice if I could wield the dagger as skilled as Green Goblin. This joke alone portrayed just how highly skilled they were. Anyways, the Green Goblin, hearing my words, briefly pondered before smiling and replied. You are an unusual greenskin. Blood Dagger, warrior without honor. Others assert that there is nothing to learn from us. This is the first I've been directly asked for my teachings. Grike. You do not evolve, but you still protect your honor in the body of goblins with your flag set high. You have the right to receive applause. Grike. Originally, our Green Goblin clan asked for sparkling objects as payment when tasked by our brothers for a request. It seems it wasn't free. I even gave him a ride on a wolf, but seeing him like that, I couldn't help but feel that he was a bit shameful. Even when I was in the city, I have heard how goblins lose one's mind from sparkling objects. So much so that was advised not to carry any sparkling possessions as much as possible before leaving on an adventure. I thought it was just a joke, but seeing this now, they really are greedy. I don't have anything at the moment, but I can retrieve what you want. Green Goblin. Grike. Very good. Good. Grike. He was able to ride on top of the wolf. He was also promised sparkling items. The Green Goblin, who was extremely elated, started laughing, causing the other clan members to laugh as well. Sparkling gold coins and jewels. When I was a human, those were very precious, but for monsters, they were nothing but useless objects. I'm not sure why they're so obsessed with those, but it wasn't even difficult for us to give away the byproducts of the hunt. As such, we traveled like this for a while. Slowly, the Green Goblin began to climb down the wolf. Staring at the Green Goblin with a questionable expression, the Green Goblin with a playful look opened his mouth. It seems that I can get rid of Blood Dagger's curiosity faster than I thought. Grike. The other Green Goblins in the surrounding began to look around with happy expressions. Humans. There are humans. There are humans up front. If we walk a bit further, you'll see. I didn't notice. Of course our tribe members also had dazed faces. We're not ignoring the bravery of the Blood Dagger clan, but leave this fight to us this time. We want to show you all something. Duke. I decided to answer with a nod. I had expected that the humans acting in this path would be strong to a certain extent, but I could not imagine how they did not notice us yet. Especially in this welcoming setting. If we were to be rushed first, probably over half of us will die. But to be able to notice that, the Green Goblin clan started to look even more impressive. To be honest, among the greenskins, other than ones that just entered, the chiefs that have been in the continent for a long time could be rightly considered to be the strongest in the continent. When you evaluate the strengths of these guys roughly from personal insights and rumors, assuming that both the Saint Sword and the Queen of the North both equal in status or S rank 10 years later, the many chiefs of the greenskin would be between S rank and the rank. Of course, in the case of Chief Patriarch Agar, who is considered to be out of specification, SS rank. During my human days, as someone that thought of myself as E rank, it was a height that was truly too high to reach. Perhaps the Green Goblin in front of me may be playful and greedy, but he is one of the strongest. I gestured to the tribal members of the Blood Dagger clan for a moment with my hand. They probably heard Green Goblin's voice as well. To not intervene in this battle. Everyone nodded in comprehension. But, it seems that they wanted to fight. It was the first time to be able to view a fight by single quote "The strong" since I watched the Saint Sword. Well, I've only seen the Saint Sword in an unofficial fight at a competition without voting, but I've never seen her properly clash in a battle of life and death. Let's go, my green brothers. The Green Goblin clan began to move quickly. Of course, it seems that they were taking care of us as they continued to smile, looking back as they ran. If it were just the Green Goblins, then the humans might not have noticed, but the Blood Dagger clan was charging as well. To advertise like this while running, I thought that it wouldn't be long before they notice us. As expected, I started to hear the human voices. Monsters. Prepare for battle. Our luck is good. They're goblins. Just roughly face them. Stupid custards. Certainly the goblins of the south are weaker than the west. Nonetheless, it is inexcusable to be careless to such an extent. That kind of reaction should only appear if you're truly confident, or if your opponents are weaker than you. Among them, a level-headed person began to shout with a loud voice. Don't be careless and prepare for battle. With one sentence from that person that looked to be the leader, the mood of the party changed. I could hear sounds of chanting here and there. They were planning on responding with magic. The warriors also began to raise their shields to clash against the goblins. When I was curious of how these small goblins would be able to penetrate those shields and attain victory, it was then. The chief suddenly began to throw gold coins from his pocket. Grike. Grike. Sparkling, sparkling, sparkling. Curious of what nonsense they were acting, the moment I looked at the Green Goblin, the goblins began to accelerate into a flash. We realized that they weren't running slowly in wait of us, but they were trying to induce as much carelessness as possible from their opponents with their loose appearances. The speed of the goblins that began to change hardened the expressions of the humans. Of course, their facial expressions couldn't help but change. The speed of the goblins rushing towards them were extremely fast. And then, the moment the human magician was about to complete his spell, the light gleamed from the gold coins that were thrown. Duck. I didn't hear an explosion. Rather, the sounds kept ringing in my ear, completely blinding me. The light was so bright that it was painful to keep them open. Flashbang. I thought that it was probably a unique ability. A unique ability that changes sparkling objects to flashbangs. It was a unique ability completely different from that cheap HP increase. I can finally understand why human adventurers found goblins of the Green Goblin clan to be nightmarish. I realized why I had never seen the Green Goblin clan's chief in the Western City area. They fight in the light. Nearly all of these clan members that have changed into assassins fought in the flashbang thrown by the Green Goblin. Once the sound stopped, I could hear the screams of the humans. Agar. Agar. WH. Where? Save me. Priest. Soon, when my vision began to slowly recover, I opened my eyes. The battle was already over. Duck. These ducking custards. It was a given that I began to swear at the person that summoned us here in this very unfair place. How strong. Even the chief did not move after the first flash flare. Green Goblin wasn't even interested in the battle that already ended as he began to search the humans' pockets. Chief. I found it. A gold coin. Sparkling, sparkling. It's sparkling. It wasn't just me. The rest of the Blood Dagger clan members gazed upon this unfounded scene in a daze. In the center, the Green Goblin chief looked at me and showed his teeth. There were still gold coins that were dancing in his hands. So how was it, Blood Dagger? Has your curiosity been resolved yet? Grike. Grike. A bit. This was exactly what a named monster was. To be honest, I was lost for words for a moment. Not exaggerating, but I was truly embarrassed. I couldn't even see the fight, so my pride was a bit hurt. I didn't even properly see how the humans had died. Blood Dagger, you must have heard as well. The God of Battlefield's voice. I did. It seems that the God of Battlefield calls this special ability unique ability. Grike Grike. I definitely knew, since I had one as well, though it was a ridiculously useless ability. I see. I think I saw it from the item shop if I recall. Then, this conversation won't be long. Blood Dagger, I learnt this ability exactly 3 years after coming over into this continent. It will be the same for you. Let's concentrate on awakening your unique ability together for these next 3 years. Grike Grike. It doesn't matter what kind of ability it is. I look forward to it. Of course, unique abilities are important, but it wasn't just that. What I just realized when I saw the Green Goblin clan in the battle just before, they seemed to be a perfect clan. Of course, my own upbringing is also important. However, the direction of how our clan will grow in the future was definitely important. In the case of White Silver Fang, all of them have fast maneuverability, so they will be very specialized for guerrilla tactics. The Minotaurs of the prairies will fight and charge recklessly with their immense strength. As for the ogres in the jungle, they will awaken their wild nature as much as possible and slaughter their opponents. If you think about it, Dwarf's clan was the same. The majority of their warriors have large frames. They enjoy fighting in the front. Even the shamans that are in Dark Moon clan have their own characteristics. Our clan compared to them had a high ratio of assassins, so I can't say that we don't have any distinctive G. At the end, as we marched towards the west, I didn't say much, and the Green Goblin clan's chief Green Goblin watched me as if he understood. Of course I did not know how long he had lived here, but he too had experienced the growth process. Around the time that we arrived at the tribe of the Green Goblin clan, I had determined that it was a good choice that I had selected their clan. 2-3 years, no matter what method I use, I will become stronger with power.